Hello, and welcome to another Rant Rave review, where today we will be raving, yes, raving, about Battleship and Happy Feet 2. And you might think that the date that this is coming out on, has something to do with why we are raving rather than ranting, but the joke's on you, because I actually am going to rave about these movies. Sort of? Well, let's talk about it. It's complicated. First, we have to talk about the scale of movie goodness. This only applies to movies, really. It doesn't really apply to books or video games. Those are different animals with different categories of goodness. Movies, however, a lot of people think it's either good or bad. But there's so much more to it than that. So much more to it than that. In particular, my sister was a film student, and she has seen some stuff. She has seen some things that... There was literally one time she said she could feel her nervous system shutting down, trying to stop her from having to see the rest of the film. She's seen things where people have literally fainted watching them. Like, she's seen some stuff. But she describes movies in a number of ways. But let's talk. Let's talk about this scale of movie goodness on our beautiful old paper and pen, because I don't have time to edit and editing software and fancy graphics. Nah. Alright, so we have a scale. We also have a cat. It's going to be in the video because she's like that. Now, you have good. And you have bad. And that's what most people think. It's a good movie, it's a bad movie. Maybe you have some star ratings, like, 5 stars, and then here, around about, it would be like 3 stars, and then here it's 1 star. No. First of all, up at the tippity top is a perfect movie. And in fact, if we're talking about just feature films, there's only one perfect movie, and that is Coco. There are 4 perfect stories, but only one of them is a movie. I don't make the rules. Coco is the only perfect movie that there is. And then you have flawless movies. Now you might say, what is the difference between flawless and perfect? Well, for example, not the newest Jumanji movie with the horse, but the other one before that. That one was a sequel. The one before that, that's not a sequel. That was a flawless movie. My dad and I watched it. We came out of the theater. We were like, could you think of anything wrong with that? No flaws. But it doesn't strive for perfection, strive for greatness in the same way that Coco does. Coco is just, yes, it's a perfect movie. And then underneath perfect, flawless, you have some great movies. They're better than good. They're not just good. They're great. A lot of movies from the 80s would be in this category. Great movies. Great. Princess Bride. Ghostbusters. They're just great movies. What about Bob? 10 out of 10. Okay? Great. Some flaws here and there, maybe some slow parts or some weird things or off-color jokes that don't need to be there, but they're great movies. And then you have good movies, of course. And then, you have some okay movies where you're like, it was okay. Probably wouldn't see it again, but it was okay. And then you have bad. But, my friends, there are so many more things in here that you don't even know about, okay? So, on the same level as good, you can also have differently good. Where, at first glance, you might be like, that is not a good movie. But when you watch it, you're like, no, that is a good movie, just in a very different way from other good movies. So, most of the ones you've probably never heard of. If there's a movie that you love that most people have never heard of, it's probably differently good. Like Pirates of the Great Salt Lake, which I should review at some point, and Surf Ninjas, which I should review at some point. Those are differently good movies, where there's nothing actually wrong with them, but they're so weird and offbeat that you're like, they're not quite the same animal as a normal good differently good. So they're still good, they're just different. Okay? They're different. So differently good. That's what my sister calls these movies. Okay. And then we have bad, right? Whoa, hold on to your horses there. Hold on to your horses. If there are all these different types of good, there are, in fact, all these different types of bad. I submit that there are some movies that are bad but fun to watch. And that's not hard to understand. A lot of people have that kind of guilty pleasure type movie. And I submit that bad but fun to watch are actually better than okay movies. So, for example, like 90% of everything that Roland Emmerich has ever made. 2012, Day After Tomorrow, Anonymous. He's an excellent filmmaker who makes terrible movies, is how I would describe Roland Emmerich. But his movies are bad. They're not really good, but man, are they fun to watch. If you have not seen White House Down, watch White House Down. A masterpiece. And again, they're better than okay movies because an okay movie you're like, eh. Whereas a bad but fun to watch movie, I've seen White House Down like 3 times. Like, it's so... Again, it's not good, but it's so good, man, you know? So yeah, it's not differently. Well, some of his are on the cusp. Some of Roland Emmerich movies are between differently good and bad but fun to watch. But some of them are just, like 2012 is just bad. But man, is it fun to watch. But then you have the movies we will be talking about today, which are bad and not fun to watch. Like, while you're watching them, you're not really having a good time. But man, are they fun to talk about. And I would say those are a little bit better than bad. So they're bad. You don't like... It's not fun to watch. No. But they are fun to talk about. In which we find our 2 movies we have right here. We have Happy Feet 2 and Battleship, which we will be discussing shortly. But yes, they're bad, but they are really fun to talk about. I will say honorable mention for my auntie. There's another movie that, like, it defies categorization. I was thinking it was bad but fun to watch, but I'm not even sure it's that, and that would be Face Off, which, you know, is internet famous. I will just say that I first encountered Face Off reading Mike Nelson's review of it in his book, Movie Mega Cheese or something, and he talked about all the things in that movie, and I thought they were just exaggerations and jokes, but no, they weren't. So that's a good one. Watch that one. Yeah. And finally, for another day, we have bad. So these movies are just bad. Like, this is not a good movie. It's a bad movie, okay? Bad. Then, under bad, we have unwatchably bad, okay? Where, you know, some are bad but fun to watch, some are bad but you can watch them and they're fun to talk about, some are just bad but you can watch them, And then there's unwatchably bad. Mitchell, okay? If you've ever seen Mitchell, they did it on MST3K. I couldn't even watch the MST3K version. I was just like, no. So many Italian films from the 60s. I'm just like, no, I can't do it anymore. Like, there's just certain movies you just can't watch. And you might think that that is the worst thing on this movie thing. It's not, my friends. No, someday I will review the 9th Circle of Hell, Satan beating his wings in a block of ice. The worst movie ever. Because it is super watchably bad, super well made, lovingly handcrafted to hurt. But you'll just have to wait for that review. Worst ever. I'll review it later. You're just not prepared. You don't even know what it is. Let's just say that there's random owls and a dog and later. Okay, let's move on to happy things. This is our chart. That was fun to watch. Okay. So anyway, let's talk about Battleship and Happy Feet 2. In fact, let's talk about Happy Feet 2 first, and then Battleship, because I might laugh myself to tears talking about Battleship. It's one of the best bad movies ever. So Happy Feet 2, first of all, you might ask, why not Happy Feet 1? Happy Feet 1, I would say, is just a bad movie. If you've never seen it, or don't even remember what it is, because it came out, I don't know how long ago, it's that movie with the dancing penguins. Yeah. Only it's so much more than that. A little mini rant about Happy Feet, number 1. It's like the jazz singer, but with penguins and dancing instead of singing. Clear as mud. Basically, there's this baby penguin that wants to dance, but all of his penguins in his penguin tribe, penguin church, I don't know, like to sing instead of dance. And there's the puritanical penguin Pope Papa, who's a hunchback, and he's like, it's against our laws to dance or something. And the baby penguin gets kidnapped and rescued by Greenpeace or something. And then because he can dance, all the humans are like, this animal can provide us with entertainment. We should save the ice caps. The end. Or something. It's really bad. It's really preachy, but it also has the opposite message of what it should have, which is literally, you should only save animals if they're entertaining. It's bad. Not a good movie, okay? Happy Feet 2, however, is the kind of movie I wish I was in the screenwriter's room, because watching it, you can tell that nobody involved wanted to be there. It's kind of like the group project of movies, where it has about 4 or 5 different subplots that each could have been a short, or maybe an episode of a TV show, or its own movie, but for some reason they're like, we just want our paycheck. Let's just Frankenstein these things together and leave. And it actually becomes something beautiful, in a way. I honestly cannot tell you why I saw that movie. Let's just say, again, my sister, my film school student sister, we would just rent random movies and watch them. Really, really random movies. So I think that was it was a 2-for-1 freebie. I think it was a free, there's actually, for real, to this day, there's a video store in Tucson, Arizona. You can still rent DVDs there. Yeah, it's called Casa. It's amazing. And I believe they had a free kids movie day or something. So we picked up Happy Feet 2. And, we were gonna riff on it MST3K style, but okay, so again, it's not fun to watch. It's really bad. Again, I did not like the first one. The premise of one of the stories is basically the obnoxious dancing penguin from the first one is now the leader of his tribe, because of course, if you're the male lead in a kids movie, you're gonna completely subvert society's expectations with whatever thing you happen to be into at the time, and he's just dancing. So they all dance. All the penguins are very into dancing now. It's great. And they all dance, and there's many pop songs thrown in. And I'm trying to remember. He has a little baby penguin now, a little fuzzy baby penguin, who's all shy and doesn't want to dance. Oh my gosh, it's literally the first movie, but reversed. And okay, so the first subplot is the Papa Penguin likes dancing, and his son doesn't want to dance. He's very shy. And why doesn't he want to dance? Who knows? There's a horrifying scene where the penguin, the baby penguin, I forget why, gets his head stuck in ice, and some human being decided that, the baby penguin should, pee on screen, which apparently, according to my older brother, is not how it shoots out, but apparently bird pee doesn't do that. Regardless, think about this for a second. Some poor animator who, went to school to learn how to animate water effects. Okay, this is why it's fun to talk about. Some poor animator, they were like, hey, Joe, you learned how to, animate water really beautifully. And he's like, thanks, I did. And they're like, can you animate this baby penguin peeing into the air? And he was like, Anyway, it's a very well animated movie. Okay, so that's not a plot that just happened. I just feel like I have to tell you. Okay. Baby Penguin wants to, well, we don't know what he wants, but he wants something that isn't dancing. Okay. He like runs off into the wild or something, and his Papa Penguin runs after him. And all the penguins for some reason live in this like icy gorge, a crevasse, in fact. If it's on ice, it's called a crevasse. If it's on land, it's called a crevice, but we don't talk about this. So he like leaves the penguin tribe, and there's this avalanche that happens, so all the penguins get stuck in their weird crevasse, and they can't get any fish, so they're gonna starve. This is like plot B? So Baby Penguin and his destiny is plot A. All the penguin tribe is stuck. That's plot B. Meanwhile, there's this adorable puffin who should just have his own movie. He's a puffin, and he basically like goes around and pretends to be a penguin that can fly. Why does this character not have his own movie? So he is basically like famous and happy, and he's hanging out in the crevasse, and all the penguins are like, you can fly, this is amazing, you're magical. And then when they get stuck, they're like, can you fly us out? And he's like, oh, I'm an imposter. And it should have been its own movie. Okay, that's plot C. Plot D. I feel like I'm missing a plot. Plot D is, there are these krill hanging out nowhere near the penguins, and they're all in this, giant group of krill swimming around the ocean, and there's two krills named Will and Bill, the krill. And they basically, one of them is like sad that everything eats krill. And they're like the bottom of the food chain. And he's like, oh, I want to find my destiny. Like, surely I have a purpose. I think that's Bill. And then Will is like, no, man, we're just like born, like whatever. And so they go on this quest to like find their purpose. And again, my sister was like, it's Will and Bill Krill's Adventures in Lamarckian Evolution. Because they like want to basically will themselves to the top of the food chain instead of just being food. Okay. I'm not even kidding. Like, this is the actual movie. Like, this is 4 weird plots. Okay. So, and throughout the entire movie, there's various scenes going on, and it'll like flash back to what Will and Bill Krill are doing, which seemingly has nothing to do with the movie. But wait, okay. So, penguins are starving. Puffin is sad because he's like, he can't be their hero. Will and Bill Krill are doing whatever the heck they want. Papa Penguin goes to get the baby penguin, and they meet these, like, elephant seals with their big creepy noses, and I don't remember, I don't care, who cares? And it turns out that the baby penguin wants to sing, but not just sing, like, pop songs and stuff, sing, like, operatically, like, oh, like, amazing, he has a voice of an angel, and it's like, and again, flashback to that, like, group of writers in their room, and they're just like, Happy Feet 2. You're really gonna make us write a friggin' sequel to Happy Feet 2? I don't care. Baby Penguin 1. They just like threw writing at the wall and saw what sticked, and it all stuck, and it was great. So, this is, eventually, I think the puffin flies out and tells the Papa Penguin and the Baby Penguin, who now is a beautiful operatic singer, he's like, oh, everyone's trapped, you need to come back because they're starving, apparently. Because apparently, friggin' penguins are too stupid to like, I don't know. They're very incompetent penguins. So, the Papa Penguin comes back with the baby penguin and the elephant seals. And they're above on the cliffs. Okay? Like them, the elephant seals, a couple penguins, and the puffin are up top. And then there's all the penguins in the crevasse below. And then you can actually tell at this point, underneath the ice, I think that Will and Bill the Krill has like lost he's realized like everything attacks them, like everything along their journey and their quest has tried to eat them, and he's like given up hope. He's just like, we're just supposed to be food, it doesn't matter. And he's and all the Krill are like standing under the ice, like opposites, like here's the top of the ice where it's dry, and they're in the ocean under the ice. Okay. And then this is why it is like a masterpiece. Okay, so basically, the, like, Papa Penguin and the baby penguin, I forget why they decide to friggin' start dancing and singing, but they're, because of these stupid movies. But the baby penguin starts singing this beautiful song. He doesn't sing a song yet, no, I think he's just, like, I don't know what it's called when you don't sing, but he's just, whatever. And the Papa Penguin is tap dancing, and then the seals start like hitting their big seal bodies on the ice, and then the penguins down below start tap dancing, and the krill are like, wait a minute, like if we all dance together, like maybe we don't have to each individually be part of the, you know, the bottom of the food chain, but all together we can all make a difference, okay? And it's really stupid. But then, like, the music starts. This is, yeah, there's no singing, it's just tapping. And then the music starts, and it goes, dun 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 dun. And I was like, oh, it's gonna be Ice Ice, baby. And it was like, under pressure, and I lost it! I was like, they made that joke. I swear, the writers were like, we're gonna have it be Ice Ice, but actually it's under pressure. Because when they all dance, the pressure from all their stupid dancing, like, causes another avalanche that, like, opens the way to the sea, and it makes zero sense, and it's not a good movie, and it's really stupid, but for that one gag, I was like, they knew exactly what they were doing. These people are geniuses. So yeah, don't watch Happy Feet 2. I cannot recommend it unless, like, you're really bored, and you want to see a baby penguin peeing into the air, but anyway, I assume that animator, like, went home and drugged himself to death. Anyway, I cannot recommend that movie, but it's so fun to talk about. So that's Happy Feet 2. Ice Ice, baby, under pressure. Okay, so, the second movie, Battleship. Now, Battleship is like 20 minutes of worthwhile movie in a, like, 2-hour span. So, that's the real problem with Battleship. It could have been a Roland Emmerich, bad but fun to watch, except the middle part was exceedingly boring. So, I don't even remember what happens in most of the middle part, but let's just talk about the bookends. Okay, so Battleship, based on the game Battleship, which you should probably know what you're getting into when you're going in, but it's finer than that. Okay, so we're introduced, I'm trying to remember who directed it. It seems very Michael Bay-ish. I'm not sure if it is Michael Bay, but it seems like it. So, there's basically this, how does it all begin? This insert male character protagonist who's so, like, boring and cookie cutter. He's like a washout and he never does anything right. But he sees this hot girl. Oh, they're in Hawaii, okay? And his brother is an upstanding person in the military. But the main character is a washout. And he sees this hot girl and she's like, I want a burrito or something. And so he breaks... Okay, I haven't seen all of this in a long time. It was only once, many years ago, but I'm going to truncate it. You'll see. I'm just hitting the important points. He breaks into a, like, convenience store to steal her a frozen burrito. It makes no sense, and it's really stupid. So, of course, the solution to this is to, like, put him in the military to make him ship shape and shape up, and... because that's how all of this works. Okay. Watch the Nostalgia Critic's review of this. I feel like he reviewed it at some point and it made more sense. But anyway, I'm telling you what I saw with my own two eyes. So flash forward like 3 years. He's in the military with his brother and they're in Hawaii. And it's like, you know, us and our allies volleyball game / Pearl Harbor, like, Veterans Day type. I don't know. And it's like Japan and America are having a happy volleyball game because we're all friends now. And... there's a bunch of veterans watching, being old, and, you know, being like, oh, yes, okay. And there's a part, it's very important, the veterans are there. It's very important, okay, later on. So, meanwhile, our protagonist here is now dating the hot girl who he wanted to get the burrito for. Yeah, because apparently that's how you get girls. You break into convenience stores to steal them burritos. And her dad is some, like, admiral or something. Of course. And he doesn't approve of this kid who's still kind of a washout even though he's in the military, and the military apparently allowed this. So, and he still hasn't changed his, like, bad attitude, this protagonist man. And there's a part where there's all these school kids on a trip, and they're looking at the Battleship and all these old ships, and the main character's like, oh, like, you shouldn't be impressed with that old ship, kids, because it's just built for taking hits. Like, that's all it does. You should do blah, 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 new ship, and... you know, all the old soldiers are like, it worked good enough for us, blah, blah, blah. Okay. blah, 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 not important. Aliens show up! Aliens show up! At some point, I forget how it's introduced, but basically, aliens are invading. Oh my gosh. Aliens are invading, and they literally fire, like, you know the pegs in Battleship? They literally fire pegs at, like, ships to destroy them, okay? So that's the first part. And later on, this is important, okay? Later, it's not actually important. Later on, because Japan is there and we're all friends now, this is a big thing in the movie, Japan's like, oh, we have buoys all over the ocean in a grid, so we can use the grid to, like, track the... I don't know why they need this grid. It's literally so you can have the stupid grid and the pegs from Battleship. Like, this is like a stupid alien movie that they just kind of were like, we can cram Battleship into it, right? Maybe. Like, I doubt the script was actually for Battleship, or called Battleship. Anyway, meanwhile, the actually, like, interesting subplot is there's this veteran who has, like, his legs have been amputated below the knee, and he has artificial limbs, and the hot girl of the protagonist, she's helping him, like, learn to walk again, and he's really grumpy and mean, and he has to, like, walk up a mountain, and he's like, I don't need your help, I hate everyone because I'm grumpy, and she's helping him, and they're much more interesting characters, honestly, but that doesn't matter, because nothing happens to that subplot, except that they beat up an alien. There's also aliens, don't remember it, there's stuff on the boat, don't remember it, all kinds of stuff is happening, I don't remember, like, 99% of the middle of this movie. It is really, really dull, okay? That's not important right now, because what's important is... it's like an hour and a half into the movie, and the aliens have put this weird, like, electronic barrier around the place where all these ships are, so nobody can send in air support, and they've been destroying ships one by one, okay? They've been destroying all the ships, and all the newer ships, okay? And so finally they figure out that, like, there's some way they can attack the aliens, but oh no, there's no ships left. But then our protagonist, who during all the really boring stuff has apparently had some kind of amazing character arc, I don't remember, doesn't matter, the protagonist was like, oh, that was the thing, is because they realized that all of their ships get sunk way too fast, so the protagonist is like, there's one ship left. And it's the Battleship, because it was built just to take hits. Foreshadowing, but it's a really old Battleship. so they're like, but it's like 50 years old. Who's gonna know how to man it? And all the veterans, like, step forward out of nowhere. Like, they weren't even in the rest of the movie, aside from the beginning, and they're like, we'll do it. And so, of course, they're all, like, manning the ship, and they take down the aliens, and it's so corny, because I don't know, just that line, like, there's one ship left. It's so bad. And then they destroy the aliens, and at the end, the Admiral accepts the, like, layabout protagonist, who's apparently had a change of heart and respects battleships and veterans now, and he says, like, they should have some burritos. And I'm not even kidding. Like, it's so bad, but so good. Don't watch Battleship. I cannot recommend it, but it's really fun to talk about, because it's so bad, not fun to watch, but fun to talk about. And that is your April Fool's episode for today. It was weird, it was wacky, it was unedited, but I'm tired and I don't want to do any more takes, so there you go. I have literally, not this time, I have literally cried myself laughing. Like, laughed myself. I don't know, I laughed so hard I cried twice when talking about Battleship before, so I'm tired. I would have done better, but it's a good movie. No, it's not a good movie. Don't watch it. But talk about it. Or if you've seen it, talk about it. You'll feel better. Get all that out. Yeah. Alright, well, without further ado, ta-ta. I will make another proper, not insane Rant Rave review on Sunday. Bye-bye.